It's Wednesday, my people, and we are coming off of an amazing, incredible winning night for the MAGA movement. It was a big night for MAGA. 37 wins with 0 losses, okay? I think last night, hopefully, everything leading up from Indiana, from Louisiana, to now Kentucky and all these other southern states should not leave a doubt that MAGA is very much still alive. And that's why I keep saying I'm reporting to you from the Ultra MAGA desk, because it was Ultra MAGA that struck back last night. There should be no doubt in anyone's mind that MAGA is still very alive and well and thriving. Okay? Lots of momentum. I think this should be giving the party lots of momentum and excitement moving forward. And I truly do hope that the Republicans decide to do some kind of convention to continue to carry this momentum and to turn out, to make sure that the MAGA base turns out in the midterms. You know, our voters are now considered to be low propensity voters. If you're not familiar, I've been involved locally in my politics. I'm still part of my committee. I'm involved, bottom line. And we have what we call 1 out of 4, which means like that's maybe our Republicans that vote 1 out of 4 times, which basically means they only vote during the presidential election, right? If you have a Republican that votes in the midterms, then they're a 2 out of 4. If they're in the primaries, then they're a 3 out of 4. And then if they vote in all of those elections, they're considered a 4 out of 4. I'm a 4 out of 4. And if you guys have a primary coming up, a local primary, make sure you get out there and vote, because it matters. Because what the primary at least does is it operates as kind of a temperature check. It gives us an idea who's going to actually come out to vote in November. There's a lot of people that don't start paying attention until after the primaries, when the dust is settled, and then now they know who the candidate is. But those folks who vote in the primaries, you can almost guarantee that they are going to vote in the general election. So our base came out big time. Not even the normies that aren't involved all the time, who kind of the 1 out of 4s. Our base, those 4 out of 4 came out, and that's a statement, and I call that success. It was a great, huge night for the GOP. You know who it wasn't a big night for? It wasn't a big night for progressives and libertarian, conservative leaning sort of folks who have tried to basically hold on to their principles and their ideals, because that's important. You have to hold on to that, but you also have to be strategic. You also have to be a team player. And in order to be a team player, sometimes you have to set those differences aside, because they can cost you. And last night, this has cost Thomas Massie his congressional seat. If you guys saw the video that I put out the day before, it was like on the eve of yesterday. I didn't put out a video yesterday because I was watching the returns, and I was also watching the Knicks basketball. I mean, I am a New Yorker here, and I do like basketball, and so I was watching that, and the Knicks won as well. So that was cool. But Thomas Massie went up against MAGA yesterday, and he got defeated. He was crushed. He ended up, I mean, it's not like he didn't have any outside money or outside influence, but he got in bed with influencers and people who think that they are more important than they actually are. Who matters at the end of the day is the voters. The voters is the people who are the people who actually give you the power. Influencers do not have power. They have influence online, whereas they can draw people in and people will listen to their message, but that doesn't convert to votes, okay? Can they convert anyone? I think not. The jury's out. I think not. And last night would have proven that. This was the most expensive congressional campaign in modern history is what we're said. I think they spent about $32 million. Okay. Some folks are saying it's stupid, that, it's wasted money because it could have been spent in other places. But you know what? The MAGA agenda cannot afford this type of dissent that's coming from a so-called Republican, right? Thomas Massie pretty much put the nail in his coffin when he got hyper-focused on this Epstein stuff. This stuff was not even on the tip of his tongue, only until he started to look at it as a wedge issue that he can use against Trump, all right? And so that really cost him. And not only that, again, when it counted, when it mattered, Tom Massie voted against the Big Beautiful Bill, which was like a key legislation. Do you understand the impact that would have on Trump's presidency if he wasn't able to pass that bill? What would that symbolize to his base? What would they symbolize to his opponents and the people who hate him all the time? That his influence isn't there, and that he can't even get legislation passed from his own party. And Trump has dealt with enough opposition, backstabbing from his own party. There's all this gnashing of the teeth online. There were so many people who are so mad, and claiming that they're going to vote for Democrats in November. If you are saying because Thomas Massie lost, because he was challenged by a Republican, he was challenged by Trump, and your feelings are hurt, and you're saying you're going to vote for Democrats come November, no one needs your kind in the party. You can't be trusted. You're double-faced. You're basically like political narcissists. If something doesn't go your way, then this is what you're doing. This is the way that you're going to behave. The movement has to be bigger than your ego. Okay? The movement is bigger than your ego. It's not personal. Okay? And truthfully, who took Thomas Massie out? Not Trump. Trump's endorsement is gold. But at the end of the day, the voters get to pick and choose who's going to be their candidate. But what you may be mad at is the fact that Trump has loyal supporters. Trump's supporters are loyal to him. And they're loyal to him because no other political candidate or figure has endured or went through what Donald Trump has done in order to advance and push his agenda. No political candidate has endured what he has to endure financially. His family, they tried to destroy him. They tried to kill him on multiple occasions. You can't buy that kind of loyalty. He never had to put himself in this position, yet he did. He did. And he's done it over and over and over again. Even with everyone throwing any type of jabs that they can, just everything at Trump, Trump stood his ground. And people respect that. They respect that. That kind of courage, that kind of bravery is what's missing. And unfortunately, Thomas Massie had to learn the hard way. I'm sure he'll maybe go on a bunch of shows and be a podcaster. They're already trying to run him, talk about him for 2028. Go ahead. Run in 2028. Run in 2028. That's okay. We're not scared. We got amazing talent for 2028. So, keep it coming. Keep it coming. The meltdowns is something that we're going to have to be watching for, and it's okay because truthfully, it's all right. You went up against MAGA, and, MAGA responded. The reality is that influencers do not equate to votes. They're mouthpieces. They're spectators. They're on the outside. They're talking. They are not the man in the arena. Do you guys know that poem? That's one of my favorites, and I call myself the woman in the arena. But the man in the arena is Trump. I'm going to have to create an image of that. And do you know what the man in the arena speech says? It's an amazing, incredible quote. And what it says is that it is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out the strong person stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there's no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daringly greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who never know victory nor defeat. But for our boy Trump, Trump's a winner. Trump knows lots of winning. But you know what? With all the winners that I know, they also know losses. And they take them with grace. Okay? So none of these people have put themselves or been that man in the arena like Trump has. Okay? And so for that, Trump has undeniable support from his base. The base isn't going anywhere. Okay? Base isn't going anywhere. This also was a win. MAGA won so much last night because I think this went up against the Bernie bros of 2016, because a lot of those folks, I would say, that are on the so-called libertarian ring, they don't like the progressives, the extreme lefts, because they don't fit in there. They don't quite fit there. They're not really comfortable there. But they also don't take strong enough positions on the culture wars. And that's exactly why MAGA has basically will continue to shape the Republican Party from here on out. MAGA does take a strong position on culture issues. MAGA does push back on things that they don't agree with. Okay, there is also the religious and the Christian part of it, which is all tied up in MAGA. The libertarians and the progressives are more secular, right? When Charlie Kirk was assassinated, that brought people to Jesus. That brought young men to Jesus and women. And so they naturally are going to be matching up and looking at, okay, you know, Democrats, left-leaning, liberalism. They're going to look at the left in a different manner. They're going to move more to the right, in which if they come to the right, to MAGA, they're going to find a home in MAGA. Okay? So, secular or MAGA? I'm sorry, but Bernie of 2016 didn't happen for a reason. I'm glad that it didn't happen. I was on that side of the woods, but I've been on the MAGA movement since. And there's a reason for all of this, right? So Bernie 2016, the Young Turks, the Anarcho-Kasparians, was it David Smith, Tucker Carlson, you know, Alex Jones. I mean, all these people have all these mixed up ideologies, right? But what they can't do is unify. But what they decide to do, you know, like if you know about haters have a hard time like building relationships and stuff. The only thing they can be unified on is hatred for someone. And I guess this wing, they're unified on hatred for the Jews and hatred for MAGA and hatred for Trump, whatever the case may be. But they are not unified. And they love to say this about, and it's true that the Republican Party's not unified, but MAGA is. MAGA is unified. And it's proven throughout these primaries. Okay, so the Bernie bros, you guys lost, right? Big time. You guys lost. And the reason why is because you do not take strong positions on things. Look at what happened with Bernie Sanders in 2016. He ran around and campaigned for the very antithesis of his movement and what he was about. He was treated like a lapdog, and he went out stomping for his oppressors. Like, did he have Stockholm syndrome? Like, how did that happen? And the Bernie of 2016 was just no more. Not in 2020, and you're just never going to get that. I mean, maybe the progressives and the libertarians, maybe they want to join the DSA. I mean, the DSA has been organized for years and they're starting to run their candidates and they're winning elections. So maybe they want to create their own party, but do not try or be mad that you weren't able to shape and mold the Republican Party, right? Because it's okay. You can't. You have to actually win off the merit. You have to win off your ideas. You have to win off your arguments, and you have to influence people to come out and to support you. Don't hide under the Republican Party and be stabbing them while they're trying to get an agenda pushed. Okay? While they're trying to get their agenda implemented. So, sorry, but not sorry. The MAGA's base and the MAGA movement has grown since 2016 steadily. Every single year Trump continues, every single election that Trump has ran, his votes have increased. His votes increase and it's going to continue to increase. So there's that part. And probably one of the biggest, most important parts is what I spoke about earlier, which is the loyalty part. People are loyal to Trump in the movement, and they are loyal because of what Trump endured, what they've seen him endure, what they've tried to do to him, what they're still trying to do to him, how the world turned against this man. One man. So Trump has total political capital. It's not a cult. People don't look at Trump like he's God, but they're loyal to him because of what he has went through on behalf of us. Okay? And so what I will leave you with is that Trump continues, yes, to shape the Republican Party. It is his party. It's probably going to should be known as maybe one of the most dominant movements in modern politics. There's a gap between influencer, right? People who sit online and talk versus actually people who go out and actually get people to vote. Shout out to Scott Presler. Okay, Scott Presler, I met him. He came to my organization and spoke. He's turned out votes. He's done voter drives. I think Early Vote Action is the name of his organization. Guys, if you want to get involved, the best thing you could do is reach out to some of these organizations that support your ideals, people that agree with you, people who are like-minded, who believe in the same things or have the same worldview as you. Get off of your butt and get involved. I'm involved. I'm involved locally, and I got my foot on the pulse. I'm involved, and so I know what's going on. And from time to time, if I have something that I can break to you that's important, I will share with you. The future of the Republican Party moving forward, we will have to see. You have to know that all the people like Cassidy and Massie and any of these left-wingers and progressives, they are probably trying to work together now to drum up something to figure out a way that they can disrupt Trump's agenda. I'm sure that Trump and his team and supporters of Trump have a response. But right now, just know that they're going to go on their vindictive tour because there's nothing to lose because he already took them down and they're out. They won't be reelected. They're out of here. So they're going to try to sabotage Trump. You know, if there's about getting anything passed, look at what's going on with Thune. John Cornyn just suspended his campaign after they spent maybe $150 million or something like that. All why? Because John Thune refused to get the SAVE Act passed. Why didn't you get it passed? Ken Paxton even said that he would actually step down to suspend his campaign if John Cornyn would help and get the Save America Act passed. They didn't do it. They gave lip service to it and excuses, right? They won't nuke the filibuster, even though Democrats constantly are saying that that's what they're going to do. They're going to stack the Supreme Court. And that's the other pathetic thing about the Democrats is that they can't win with the existing structures, right? It's not like they haven't won before, but they can't win with the existing structure. So somehow they have to change all the rules just in order so they can implement democracy. They have to overturn democracy so they can win and be seen as fighters for democracy. But it's only over until Democrats win. So there'll be plenty of topics that are going to be coming out of the Ultra MAGA desk. Right now, this is basically Ultra MAGA. This is primary season. There's much more to talk about because the VRA is going to keep us doing videos and talking, because as this shapes up, we don't know the long-term effects that this redistricting war is going to have, but the implications are incredible. The implications is right now that over time, the Democrats are not going to remain an actual viable political party. So there's going to have to be a lot of regrouping and things going on, because now, truthfully, with based on the fact that they can't draw gerrymandered districts, that means there's going to be more purple districts. There may actually be an opportunity for independents to actually be in a congressional district. But the only way that that's going to happen is if they start to organize.